Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
At the end of the 2020 season, we had a decision to make. Matt's one-loss record was well above 500, and we have been to the playoffs 2 out of 3 seasons, but with 0 playoff wins. We felt that Ryan and Matt had earned the opportunity to improve upon the results of 2019 and 2020, that continuity was the best route to positive results. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Over 4 seasons, we beat the teams we were expected to beat. Too often, though, we didn't beat the better teams. And you have to do that to excel in this league. Our search for a general manager and a head coach begins today. It will be thorough, diligent, and exhaustive, and will result in the best possible selections to lead the Bears to success.
Welcome, everyone, to this very special episode that we are calling the Halas Hall Purge. And with me are Aaron Current, Danny Shimon, Ryan Badgley. We might get some more people in. And we're here to just wrap and talk about our feelings about that press conference today. Some people are saying it was good. Most people are saying what a disaster it was. I want to hear what these 3 guys have to say, and then also get their thoughts on what could lie ahead, and also some of the other news that has happened since that press conference. We've gotten word that the Bears have already asked to interview certain people, so we'll cover all of that. We'll hear some of the press conference material and react to that. So that's the plan for today's show, Halas Hall Purge. Let me welcome in Ryan Badgley first. Ryan, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Aldo. What a roller coaster of emotions, for crying out loud. Today was you hit the high of this morning. I tweeted out, everybody can have their own club dub celebration now that Pace and Nagy are gone. And hell, I had people sending me videos of them dancing in their living rooms and stuff. To you turn a few hours later and you're like, last season it ended poorly. It couldn't possibly get any worse. And George, he grabbed a Busch Light and he just said, "Hold my beer." And he made it that much worse.
He certainly did. Speaking of drinking beer, there's Aaron Curran taking a sip of his beverage of choice. By the way, Aaron, first of all, I got to say, I when you first came in just prior to the start of the show, I was saying, man, this guy looks really, really handsome today. And I just realized what it is. That freaking hat, dude. That rock, man.
Dude, I saw this hat on, most of my ads that are on my Facebook and stuff are Bears gear or Kentucky gear, because clearly that's all I buy or wear, so they know what to sell me. And I saw this and I was like, man, that looks really good. I don't have anything that's like black and white. I'm not a White Sox fan, but I like their color scheme. Mm-hmm. And so I bought it, man, and I love the way it looks. And yeah, I'm rocking Aurelio's today too. If anybody's
look at this guy.
Anybody's a pizza fan. That's our pizza place of choice when we go to Chicago. The one in Homewood is our favorite, but
good stuff, man. Excellent pizza. Well, thanks for being here. Let me also welcome in this handsome gentleman, Danny Shimon. How are you, brother?
What's up? What's up, guys? The one thing I wanted to know right away is Badge, the videos. Were the people dancing nude, or were they fully clothed, or what?
Oh, dude, I mean, I wouldn't have been opposed, but no, everybody was fully clothed. Now I'm probably going to get a boatload of, oh God, that's probably bad. That's going to end horribly. I just closed out. Let me close my DMs real quick.
But the dramatic Purge music that Aldo had playing underneath that bed, as George was talking there, just set you into that mood there. That kind of, and after watching that press conference, I just felt like, I don't know about you guys, but I just felt like George McCaskey should never do any more press conferences, because all he does is make you feel bad. It doesn't make you feel better about the organization. So that's the one thing. That's one thing. Aldo, you and I, we've talked about over and over again. That's they need a head of football operations, someone that the buck ends and stops with that person, because that person can then take these questions and can answer some of these questions with George kind of sitting next to him, not having to deal with all this stuff. So, but yeah, it's like you guys hit it on the head there. You felt the that kind of like the clean sweep there. They got rid of Nagy and Pace, and now you're looking forward to the future. You're thinking all of the possibilities, and then here comes George. So we tweaked it a little bit here. Ted Phillips is going to concentrate on that stadium, but yet I'm going to hire a football operations guy. He's going to report to me, but I have no idea about football. I'm just a fan. So if that GM you hire now, if he blows, as long as he's nice to George, I guess, and George likes him, he's going to keep him around. So who's there to hold him accountable? And this is why Aldo, and I'm sure you guys have all kind of have laid out here today, is like they need a head of football operations, someone that would hold the GM and the coach accountable. And unfortunately, right now it's George McCaskey, and I just don't feel good about that.
Yeah, you're going to have the GM report to George McCaskey, and he said that he's never had that before, so he's going to have to learn from his GM. So I've been involved in a lot of boss-worker relationships. I effing loved it when I got a boss who was always asking me, hey, what should I do about this? What should I do? I had that boss wrapped around my finger, man. I was getting raises. I was going on trips. I was giving out bonuses to my favorite employees. I was getting over in a big way. You think that's not going to happen again to this guy? Come on, man.
The only way that could save the Bears is if they somehow get lucky and they hire an actual football guy, and then that guy is actually a legit football, guy who knows what he's doing, right? So that's why I've said before, even before today's press conference, I want someone who's done this before. I want someone who's been in the league a long time, preferably who's been a GM before. That's why my top three candidates are guys actually that they have been GMs before in different places. So, and that's because I want someone not learning on the job here, right? Like Ryan Pace said, just fresh out of a scouting department from the Saints, comes in, is learning on a job, and not to his fault, because if he has any questions, if Ryan Pace or whoever the new guy is being hired here is a guy who's never done it before, if he has any questions, who's he going to turn to? George? Yeah. Who's in the building there that's going to help that fresh first year GM answer some of his questions? So that's the thing. It's like, unless he's got context throughout the league that he could go ahead and kind of reference to. But again, these are people outside the building. There's no one inside the building that knows the players, the situation, all that stuff. So that's why you need someone right now. In my opinion, they need to go make a hire that's someone that has had previous GM, experience in other organizations, in my opinion.
I'm going to say this. Now, you have 102 years of football history. I mean, only 99 of it's still alive. And for Christ's sake, George, you're saying you're a fan. Well, use some of your fandom to help you here. I mean, because that's what we're doing here. I mean, yes, Danny fucking can analyze anything on a football field without a shadow of a doubt. But we're fans of this team, fans of this organization. So I don't give a shit whether you've been in this organization your whole life. You've had to have picked up something to be competent enough to be able to make good decisions when it comes to this franchise. And then on top of that, you're saying, well, I report to the board, and the board is made up of other family members and some
it's your mom.
People. Yeah. Like, I mean, give me a fucking break here. There's zero accountability. Zero accountability.
None.
For anything that transpires within this organization. Had they done the right thing and said, we're hiring Bill Polian as our, Bill Polian is probably not the guy, but we're hiring him as our president of football operations. He will, with help, find a GM, fine. There's somebody there. I'm all for it. But you look at this, and these guys were even asked this question. What is different? What are you doing that's different? Oh, so they're just going to report to you directly, George? That's the change? Mm-hmm. Big fucking deal.
All right. Exactly.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest takeaway of it was like no one's holding anybody accountable. They're not going to change anything. And I was watching the press conference live, and shout out to those reporters though, man, because they were actually coming at him with hard. Like some of the questions were actually trying to get something out of him. And even when he tried to dodge questions, they would kind of word it a different way, and because I know there was one where they said, if the GM head coach candidate is not on board with Justin Fields, are they out? Mm-hmm. And George said, well, we don't speak on hypotheticals. And he goes, well, I mean, it's not a hypothetical. Like, is that candidate out if they're not with it? And he's like, well, you started it with if. So it's a hypothetical, and then I can't remember how they worded it, but it was
I got it for you, Aaron. Check this out.
Oh,
given
perfect, Aldo.
The investment in him, giving up the first round pick this year and whatnot, if a candidate says that he doesn't like him, doesn't want to keep him, wants to move on, would that automatically discount them or disqualify them from the position of GM or coach?
Well, I think I've said before, I don't entertain hypotheticals. We're interested in hearing what the candidates have to say about the development of the entire football organization, and especially the quarterback position. We want to know what their plan is to develop that position for us.
David Hall?
Or just to follow up on that, because I think that's a critical question. I think what we're asking is, it's not a hypothetical. If the candidate, you're a fan and you say that you like what you see in Justin Fields, but if somebody who is a football person that you're interviewing, the head coach candidate or a GM, has reservations about his potential, does that potentially disqualify that person from getting a job with you?
Well, I don't want to get into a semantics debate with you, but the first word of your question was if. That to me presents a hypothetical, and we don't know what the candidates have had to say because we haven't interviewed any of them yet. We want to know what their plan is for that position for the Bears.
Is thinking Justin Fields can be a franchise quarterback a prerequisite for either the general manager or the head coach of the Bears?
We want to know what their plan is for the quarterback position for the Bears.
You know how I would answer that question? You know how I was going to go, and I'm not a millionaire. I'm not George McCaskey. I'm not someone that sits out there and on as a leader of the organization, I've been like, you know what? Justin Fields is a big part of our future. He's a guy that I think has a chance to be a potential, franchise quarterback. However, we don't want to eliminate any candidates. So if a candidate comes in and we want to listen to their point of view and what their thoughts are on Justin in the quarterback position, and then we'll make a decision based off of that. That's what we got to do. You don't have to go through if and it's hypothetical. I don't get hypotheticals. Dude, answer the question honestly. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's something that, although you and I would discuss before, one of my reasonings for maybe keeping Ryan Pace around is you want someone that believes in Justin Fields and builds a team around Justin Fields. And now you're going to bring in someone possibly who has no interest in dealing with Justin Fields, maybe has a low grade on him coming out of Ohio State last year. So, that could be a possibility, but to just totally avoid it and not answer it and kind of dance around the question, it just makes you look silly.
That, Bruce Ollie Walter Jordan says that what McCaskey exhibited today was kind of this pampered entitlement sense, I freaking own the team, so yeah. I can be a fan and I can make the decisions and the GM will report to me and so forth. Here's why. I mean, I don't want to get into a whole diatribe as to why that pisses me off. I'll do that on the Dan and Aldo show where but I will say this, that George Halas was a great man because he built this team with nickels in his pocket, because he was a player, a coach, an owner, in some cases at the same time. And he interrupted that so that he could go fight for our country. Now, the people that lead the Chicago Bears organization are all people that inherited this team, never had to work like you, Badge, you, Aaron, you, Danny, me, like all of us have worked all of our lives. They have not gone through the trials and tribulations of having built something. Mm-hmm. Everything has been handed to them. And that was so much on display today that it made me sick. It made me to root for this team.
It reminds me of what Dan Wieters said just a few short days ago. We talked about it on our show Sunday morning. He pointed out that the front office does not have a pulse on how the fan base feels. They don't believe what we're saying at all. And I mean, we've sat here all season long just continuously annihilating this organization. It's got nothing to do with the players. It's fully, clearly, after today, on the front office. And if this doesn't, I mean, I fully expect to have another 4 years very similar. I really do. I hate to say it, but I really do. And then what? After that, it's just going to continue on and on and on until a major change takes place. And I've never been one of those people to say sell the team, and I'm to the point where sell the fucking team.
Well, that's the major change, Badge, because who are you going to, someone in the chat said to unseat George. Who are you going to replace him with? Another McCaskey. So that's the thing. It's like you need to sell the team, and they're not going to sell the team. Dude, every week one of the NFL season, every owner receives $300 million or something like that from the TV deal. All right. Week one every season. They got $300 million. Doesn't include concessions, ticket sales, anything else, right? Right away. Right. So these guys are making, it's a $4 billion franchise. They're making money. They say they want to go out there and be competitive and win and all that stuff. But I'm sorry, it's unless there is a football hierarchy put in there that's actually something that looks like a professional run organization, it's going to be this mom and pop show. And Badge, like I said, it rinse and repeat. In 4 years from now, we'll be celebrating the firing of Joe Schmo and the firing of this coach. And now we're off to the next batch of interviews and hires and draft picks and all that other stuff. So
why wasn't Bill Polian at that press conference, Aaron? Why wasn't he there to answer questions and tell us what he is looking for in a GM and coaching candidate? He would have been much more credible than touting out there George McCaskey, who knows nothing about football. Why? Because he's a fan. He's a fan.
Yeah. Because just like Ernie Accorsi, when he did this for us, when they brought him in to consult, he has no skin in this game. He comes in, he makes his decision, they go with that, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't make a difference to him one way or the other. I heard Greg Bragg's call into the Waddle and Sylvie show earlier, and he said that exact same thing. They talk about building this house, but they don't have the foundation right. Like it's like changing the shingles out on your roof when your foundation's got cracks in it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. And if you didn't get an opportunity to watch the AA team with Stephen Nagishi and Ken Fang, they had on, which was just on prior to the show, they had on Michelle Steele of ESPN. She covers the Chicago area and does sometimes, she anchors sometimes Sports Center. And Michelle had a really interesting point about Tanisha Wade, who is this woman who was recently promoted to Vice President of Diversity Inclusion. What experience does she have in that? Because she was in the entertainment marketing part of that. What is going to be her role in trying to find a candidate that offers a diverse point of view? And diversity doesn't always mean skin color, that you have to bring in an African. It represents difference of thinking and so forth. So wouldn't it have been nice to bring her out to the press conference, have her answer a few questions, make us feel better about the fact that she's on the team? Or was this just a token hire and they're just trying to make it look like they're, have this diverse search team when it's really three old white men?
Yeah. Well, and especially with the Soup Campbell thing, I'm sure he has a pulse on the locker room, but to the impact that these guys are trying to push that I mean, okay, maybe. I don't know.
And the other thing was about Bill Polian. He's the big headliner here. He's the Hall of Famer, the executive. Yep. And again, Bill Polian, Hall of Famer. Hats off to him. But Bill Polian has been out of the game for 10 years. Last time I saw Bill Polian on TV, he was trying to tell us Lamar Jackson should switch positions to be a receiver instead of a quarterback. But Lamar Jackson's gone ahead and play and won an MVP as a quarterback in this league. So my thing is Bill Polian still in tune with today's NFL? I'm sure he has contacts and I know he knows people and all that stuff, but sort of Ernie Corsi. Ernie Corsi built the Giants, dynasty in the 80s and 90s with Bill Parcells. He knew people, and he led you to Ryan Pace.
Yep.
Right. So what's to say that Bill Polian is not going to lead us to some other GM? You're going to go ahead and hire him. He's going to take whatever his cut is, $400,000, whatever he gets paid for consulting, walk away. And next thing you know, we're stuck here. Like I said, 4 years later, we're rinse repeat again. And we're going to bring in another retired executive, 80-something, 90-year-old guy to help us find another GM.
Well, hey, guys. Excuse me for interrupting, Aaron, because I'm thinking to myself, this show is off to a fantastic start. And so I just started to think to myself, how can I make it just a little bit better? And so what I did is I called Neil Stopchinski, and he's joined us right now. Neil, how are you, brother?
I'm awesome, dude.
You look awesome, too.
I'm awesome.
What's up, Neil?
Stopchinski is the co-host of Draft on Tap with Danny Shimon, and we are so happy that he's here. How are you, man?
Cheers to you guys. I got a Elijah Craig straight rye that I'm switching back and forth with between a Jimmy Russell single barrel. So we're doing it right tonight.
Yes,
we're doing it right.
No wonder you're feeling good about today because you're drinking.
Yeah,
I got to work in the morning.
I mean,
I'm feeling good today. There you go. Get that straight bourbon. There you go.
Yeah,
nice. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Aaron, you had a point to make. Why don't you go ahead and make it, and then we'll give the floor to Neil, and so he can share his thoughts.
I honestly forgot everything I was about to say.
You
So
saw
you
this
go right ahead.
booze, and your memory just went.
There you go.
All right, Neil, tell us your overall impressions on the press conference today. As you can probably tell from the 30, 60 seconds you were backstage, we're not at all happy with what transpired. What are your sentiments?
The thing about it is, guys, is that I think we've seen nothing but nonsense coming out of George McCaskey's mouth for the past, year and a half, trying to justify every reason to even remotely keep this whole thing together, right? Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you guys, like I'm kind of pissed that he just went ahead and ran the bus over Olin Kreutz twice today. He ran over him once, put that bitch in reverse, and just like went and backed over him again. That's messed up, dude. And Olin was on a Cap show. It was Saturday night, Sunday night, whenever that was, talking about the story, saying, "Listen, dude, yes. I'm not going to say the story if it's false. Mm-hmm. Like, what am I doing? How does that lend me to be a credible human being if I just tell a complete bullshit story about the legacy, owner of the Chicago Bears, the chairman, family of the Chicago Bears? Like, how does that make me look good?"
Well, Olin was actually on the score to this afternoon. He actually called.
Oh, he was ripping him.
Yeah, he called Harry Heaston and said, "Harry, that's not the way you remember the story." Harry confirmed it. He called Ryan Pace, the ex-GM, and he said,
Pace confirmed it.
And Pace confirmed it. Right. So
let me, for our audience who may not have seen the press conference, this was a moment about 40 minutes into the press conference when George McCaskey was asked about that allegation that Olin made. So I think this is the question and the response here.
George, Olin Kreutz told a story the other day about how the Bears offered him essentially somewhat of a consulting role with the offensive line for $15 an hour. Were you aware of that offer when it happened, and what was your reaction whenever you were aware of it?
I've learned over the years to take just about anything that Olin says with a grain of salt, and I look forward to hearing that story again and hope he includes it in his Hall of Fame induction speech.
So you're saying that it's not true?
That's the way it is sometimes with Olin. Don't get the whole story. And Olin knows what the story is.
That
such a dick move.
Really big time. Should have just said no comment. That's it.
Because the 5 seconds after the question, that silence was deafening.
Because honestly,
I saw you tweeted that.
Because honestly, this probably did not ever get to George's desk. This is something handled probably at Ryan Pace's desk, right? It's football operations. This is something that this contract offer was made to Olin that and never got to the point where McCaskey would have been involved in it. So you just say, you know what, that's something that stopped at Ryan Pace's desk. I never really got involved in it. I'd love to talk to Olin and get his side of the story and have a one-on-one talk or whatever, instead of just alienating the guy. And someone that's really still to this day very popular amongst your fan base, someone that has done a great job transitioning over to the TV/radio side and has been a tremendous analyst, a guy that really still cares for your organization even after you guys let him go to the Saints for that year or whatever, year and a half. He still cares for the organization, and he's a guy that definitely would probably welcome an opportunity to work with this organization again. But you know what, he just didn't think about that. Just kind of like you said earlier, Aldo, he lives that pampered life, doesn't understand how it is for these guys that grind and blood and sweat for this organization. He doesn't understand that. He says he cares, but I don't think he gets it.
Before we continue, I want to bring in one other person to really make this the pièce de résistance. His name is RKB. What's up?
KB.
What's
cracking, y'all?
So, you know what? Every once in a while, I get a DM from one of our viewers, one of our listeners, who says, "Man, I really miss it when you guys would have all the guys on, and it's like a real barroom atmosphere. You guys talking shit and so forth." And I go, when they fire Nagy and Pace, we're going to throw a party. Here's the party.
Oh yeah, big time.
RKB, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? We over here, dealing with the baby. Had to make sure everything was good. Thought everything was good. Came downstairs. She went back upstairs, started crying. So, hey, man, it's been a wonderful day. A little confusing at times. Seeing that press conference kind of got me. I'm real fuzzy. It's a lot of yes and no with me right now. But I mean, what we wanted to happen happened. You know what I'm saying? Save for Ted Phillips, but I still really don't believe he's gonna be too much into the coach hiring process. But I feel like this is gonna be interesting, fellas. It was a couple names that got cut that I wasn't thinking was gonna get fired.
Yeah, there was a lot of upheaval in the National Football League today. We'll talk about that in a little while. But Ryan, I want to ask you what your thoughts are on the fact that Bill Polian is sort of leading this search committee. He's going to be doing these interviews, and basically he's going to recommend to George McCaskey who the next general manager and coach is going to be. Your thoughts on that?
Have we been here before? Had this happened before? I saw him talking. I heard him, and then I had to really rewind it and listen to what he said. I said, "This is Ernie Accorsi all over again." You got him to come in to hire the GM, then he decided to get John Fox, and then y'all hired Ryan Pace. It sounds like the same shit. Yep. And then he says, "Oh, we find a head coach that we absolutely can't pass up. We'll hire the head coach first." Mm-hmm. That's the same thing you did. It's a revolving, it's an endless waltz of bullshit. That's what it is. It's an endless waltz. You're gonna continue to dance in the same fucking circle, and you get the same results. It's crazy.
Tennessee two-step on them, KB.
Right. it's wild to me, man. I was kind of in disbelief. That's when I said my yes and no hit on this. I was in disbelief. I couldn't believe he said it. That's not something you expect somebody to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to get this guy. He's going to come in. He's going to pick us." But if we get a head coach first, fuck it. What?
Yeah. And then they asked him.
And then the GM is going to be on top of the head coach. The head coach first. We're going to bring in a GM who's actually then going to fire the head coach if he wants to. That makes no sense.
Right.
Hey, Danny, wasn't that your quote, the rinse and repeat thing?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
was that what you said? You put it on Twitter?
Wash,
earlier,
rinse,
the
repeat.
Non-top rinse and repeat deal?
Yeah, wash, rinse, repeat. Exactly. Now, the only thing is, when he first said that, my initial thought was, all right, maybe Jim Harbaugh. Maybe to lure him, right. Harbaugh says, "I need my own GM." Okay, that I can see. But then if you're going to give the GM the way he laid out the hierarchy here, if the GM is going to be on top of the coach, but yet the coach is the guy who helps you hire the GM, Does that make sense for the gym to be able to fire the coach then? You see what I'm saying? That makes total sense. Now, if it came out to where you brought in, say like a Harbaugh, he picks his GM. Now, both those guys separately report back up to George McCaskey, like how Aldo had kind of laid out this hierarchy here. That would make sense. But now you're gonna hire a coach who then's gonna help hire the GM, but that GM's gonna be able to fire him. That doesn't, I don't know. That doesn't jive for me.
And they report to the fan. Like, hire me, bro.
Yeah.
if you're making this choice, I'm a fan.
Right.
I just don't have. I wasn't born with a $1 billion company.
Oh, bro, the absolute wildest shit he said to me during the whole fucking presser. Oh, I wasn't comfortable talking to football stuff with Matt Nagy on the decision of whether or not to start Justin Fields. And then he goes on to say, "Oh, I love talking football with these guys."
Yeah.
What?
I would have said if I was the owner of Matt Nagy asked me that question, I would have said, listen, just run the ball. Hey, look at
I'm like
I'm not come here.
Fire department. I got clearance from the fire department to allow more people in.
Brother Gaines,
This guy. Gaines, what's up, brother?
What's up, fam? What's up, Badge? All my
How
brothers
you
here.
doing, brother?
Gaines looking kind of fuzzy upstairs, huh?
Huh? Just a little bit, you know.
Looking kind of fuzzy up here.
Uh-oh.
What a time show. How y'all doing, man? Y'all happy about the new era, the new day?
I don't know, dude. I like to quote Clark W. Griswold. We're at the thresholds of hell, Ellen. How can it get any worse?
Oh man.
I love
you
it.
got to pull that
Look around
clip
you,
out.
Ellen.
Oh, that's a drop right there.
Really. Really. Tyler, did you listen to any of the press conference? So what are your thoughts? But if you didn't, just what is your sense overall about what you're hearing and the direction that McCaskey has laid out based on what you know?
I did. I think I missed like maybe the first 10, 15 minutes. I did hear it. I know it got weird when he started talking about Olin Kreutz. That wasn't good.
Oh yeah.
That whole part was horrible. Like, you shouldn't have said that.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things, because him and Ted were going back and forth, and it was more about the fact that he put it on him that he's going to make the decision. And I'm like, okay, cool. We know who's going to hire the guy, but he believes in Poland like without regard. So okay, cool. He's confident in Bill Poland. That's a relationship. But then Ted Phillips said something really cool. He said the GM should be able to hold the head coach accountable for their scheme. And I said, well, that's actually a damn good point. And so I felt like it looks like they're tired. It looks like they're tired of being a laughing stock, because he was forced to answer questions that, like, we've been begging y'all for this information forever, and you all been covering it up by all this stuff. And so I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm personally excited. He didn't do himself any favors, Mr. McCaskey, because he's going to hire this guy. It's kind of like I told Aldo and John. I'm hoping we get lucky and get the right coach, guys.
I mean, when they had the press conference, I hated it. I hated everything about it. I thought it was terrible, absolutely god awful. George McCaskey calls himself a fan, but not a fan, better than a fan. I don't know what the hell it is. I've met George McCaskey. He's a good dude.
Good guy. Good guy, this McCaskey.
But some of the names that have been leaking, I'm not going to lie, I kind of like some of the names that have been leaking out that they're going to bring in for interviews. I just hope they do their due diligence and ask the right questions. And I mean, you got to get it right, man. You can't.
But you got a guy making the final decision that's not a football guy. Right? I mean, we just said it. Yeah, Bill Polian's there, but it's George that's going to make the final decision with input. I mean, it's like riding a bicycle. You guarantee you haven't ridden one in 10 years, you're going to get on and the motion's going to happen. They just keep doing it. They get one good season where somebody knocked them off the bike, and it's the best thing that can happen is they get knocked off the bike. You know what? Then they're like, oh man, I miss riding the bike. And they get back on it a year later, and it's just right downhill. The problem all along was the scheme. It was Matt Nagy's scheme. His offense was garbage. We all knew it from the get-go. Even in that 2018 season, we knew. We were talking about it right from
historic
the jump.
defense.
Yeah. You know,
4 years of complete offensive ineptitude.
Yep. Yeah. And it rang true right until the end. You know, hey, we're up 14-3 at the half. You know, all right, here we go. And then look, instantaneously, the tide changes. And it happened. I just don't think it impacted us as much because I think we were immune to it.
4th and 1, better throw the damn ball and keep Montgomery over there on the sideline.
I was beside myself on Sunday.
That was Nagy.
Just some of these plays that were called on Sunday, I swear to God, just 4th and 1, goal to go. I mean, he was more acute on Sunday than he has been in the past 2 years.
Hey, he told you he didn't come here under I formation. He told you in 2018. I'm not
well, no, I get that, but at the same time, it's like
he didn't come here to win games neither, Danny.
Yeah, there you go.
It was fun though. We got to run some plays, different plays. It was fun though.
Oh yeah, it was a great time. I was about to throw
Santa Sleigh. What was the other crazy names he had for those?
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like, and this is the reason why I was talking to the guys yesterday. I'm like, I'm not like I was kind of going to bat a little bit for Ryan Pace because guys, if you look at it, there's some talent on his roster. Ryan Pace has brought some talent on his roster, and if you look at these, I can got 4 games off the top of my head. Yesterday's Minnesota game, the Ravens game, the 49ers game, the Pittsburgh Steelers games. That's 4 wins right there. This team could easily have been 10-7 and go into the playoffs. So I think there was talent there, but I think the coaching staff failed Ryan Pace with the game plans, the confusion on offense, the breakdowns in the defensive secondary. It's just how many times we're gonna keep going over and over again. It's funny actually. George did bring up that the first game of the season, he had a defensive player not touch down a receiver. And then the last game of the season, he had a defensive player not touch on a receiver. So that goes to the coaching staff. So I think there was talent on this roster. I still think there's talent on this roster. And if you bring in a good, if you get lucky, you bring in a good GM, you bring in a good coach with a good coaching staff. You kind of bring in some more talent in terms of the draft and some veteran free agents, some key veteran free agents. You can turn this thing around, guys. You can come back around. The division could be wide open next year, right? We don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing with Green Bay. He could be gone. The Packers are going to be, a 500 team, if that, with Jordan Love at quarterback. And you got the Lions still rebuilding, and you got Minnesota going through their own regime change. So this is a team that could, with the right key moves here, right key hires, could flip it around and could be either contending for a division next year and could be contending for the playoff spot. So it's a very key, very a timely hire here for the Bears. If they do it right, if they get lucky, they could, catapult us into a couple more,
Danny,
good
George doesn't live in hypotheticals.
The thing is, if Bill Polian gives them a good candidate and they hire the right candidate in terms of the GM, and then he goes and hires the right coach, I think this has a chance. This team has a chance to go ahead and be competitive for years to come.
In terms of personnel, it's not going to take too much.
Yeah.
No.
What do you guys target, right? So, you look at the roster, right? And James Daniels, he's going to be due some money. Roquan is going to be due to be paid. What are your top priorities? Monty. Now,
Roquan's number 1. Roquan's the top priority to me.
Yep.
Because Monty, I love Montgomery, but you can replace running backs in the draft. And
for me right now, going to next season, it's got to be offensive, defensive line. You got to solidify the offensive, defensive line, and then you work from there. You at least have one more year with Roquan in terms of his contract. You can always kind of work that in the future. Definitely, Roquan's got to be signed. That's a priority. But offensive, defensive line, receiver, cornerback, top three, 4 positions of need right now on this team.
I got 3 names right off.
Offensive line group. The offensive line group to me is garbage.
I would say I got 3 names right off the top at all 3 positions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm looking at Connor Williams, who's going to become a free agent from the Dallas Cowboys. You got DJ Sharp from the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be a free agent. Dante Jackson from the Panthers is not going to be back with that team next year. Those 3 names right off the top that I'm thinking of, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like you break the bank on any of them, but
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Those are 3 names I look at.
I like DJ Chark a lot. I liked him and coming through the draft process, the speed that he displayed, and he just ain't never had a quarterback or offensive mind at all. I mean,
hey man, he
he
comes
didn't
from
have
that.
nothing in Jacksonville.
He comes from that golden tree. You know what I'm saying? LSU wide receivers, man. You know they taking over the league. Apparently,
they call themselves DBU, but I get that's
apparently no, it's wide receiver you right now. It's wide receiver you.
You know that whoever just put it up, like, stop defending Ryan Pace with a talent. Every team has a talent on the roster. Yeah, every team has NFL guys. Let's not get that twisted. But at the same time, every team doesn't always have it together either. Right? Like, you know, the Bears right now is a little bit more of a land of misfit toys than it is the New England Patriots.
Facts.
Okay, like let's not we're not defending Ryan Pace. We are defending some of his day 3 decisions. We are absolutely hammering him on day 1 and day 2.
Yep.
And we do realize that we need better at the top. Because I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you guys. I know all the guys that are boots on the ground in that organization, and they do a phenomenal job of evaluating talent. All right. The problem are the decisions that are made at the top level when it really matters. That is where the problem is. If
I'm
you
glad
just
we
went
got
ahead,
our draft guys in here because I would love to ask y'all about some of my Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, I'm just saying. I know we're talking Bears tonight, but I mean, you know, Darian Kennard. You talk about an offensive lineman. This man's been a 3-year starter at right tackle, All-American. I mean, it don't get much better than big Darian Kennard out there. And then Wandale, you throw him in the slot. I mean, we'll go all Kentucky.
Well, we're going to save that for
Neil,
Draft on Tap because we're going to have you on Draft on Tap as a guest. We're going to break down your Kentucky boys for you.
Hey, what's sleep,
you
man?
might be a little bit upset, AC. You might be a little bit upset, but that's okay.
I was upset with you last year with Boss Man Fat.
I know you were.
Boss Man Fat is holding his own in Dallas. I mean, he's not Trayvon Diggs, but they don't need him to be Trayvon Diggs.
See, I like Kelvin Joseph. There was some off the field stuff that kind of
definitely off the field
I'm
stuff.
just no.
Yeah.
I was in his DMs and he was like, I was trying to get him on the show and he was like, well, can we promote my rap album?
Yeah.
And I was like, we can do whatever you want if the Bears pick you, but the Bears didn't pick him. So
yeah, I mean, just kind of looking at this team, like, you know, that question in terms of talent. I mean, we just named some guys: Roquan, you know, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, you know, Darnell Mooney, Jalen Johnson. You know, all these guys were brought to this team by Ryan Pace. So I'm just saying, like, he did bring talent to this team. It's not like Phil Emery. Phil Emery left Ryan Pace a shit roster.
I talked about that on Sunday.
Right? And this is a roster that's got talent on it. It just needs the right coaching staff to be able to take these guys and just kind of get them to the next level. Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields are already working today or tomorrow, are going to be going on Florida to work out together. That's awesome. That's leadership. David Montgomery, another guy that Ryan Pace brought in. Another guy's going to be a leader on offense. Cole Kmet is getting better in his second year. We saw that little bit of improvement here. Now, if he continues to make the next jump there, we got a guy there as well. We got a right side of the offensive line, in my opinion, in Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum, whether it's tackle or guard or flip them, however you want to do it. I think that's a solid foundation there on the right side. Now you're talking about center. I think James Daniels is a center in this league. If you re-sign him, put him at center, Cody Whitehair left guard. Now you got to go get your left tackle, whether it's in the draft or a veteran free agent. And then you got a formation of a solid offensive line. Now you bring a coach, like say a Harbaugh, who has an identity. Harbaugh wants to run the ball. He wants to be a physical up front on the offense and defensive line. You know, play good special teams, play defense, and win. And I think that's something you need. We always are like, what is the Bears' identity in offense? They had no identity whatsoever. You know, me, Neil, Aldo, we're all talking about the Bears are a running football team. But you know what? Yeah. The coach refused to admit that they were a running football team and just decided to throw it.
And maybe these offensive linemen that you don't think can stick one way or the. I mean, you guys bust down the tape. I don't know what I'm looking at on a tape, but maybe these guys are better in a better scheme. Better. I mean, I like Juan Castillo. I really liked Harry Heastan, but I don't know. He wasn't a yes man, so Nagy got rid of him, I guess.
No,
Chris,
I mean, in terms of,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of the offensive line, like for me at least, I think there's some pieces there. You got to bring in some reinforcements. You got to add some more depth to this offensive line. Like I said, left tackle for me is a huge position. You know, hats off to Jason Peters that did yeoman's work filling in, but he's a 40-year-old guy. I don't know if you want to bring him back next year, even on a 1-year deal. So either you go attack that position in free agency and get a starter in free agency, or you go and get it in your second round pick and bring a guy in, but also bring in competition, a veteran competition to work with him, and the better man wins the job. But you solidify the offensive line, you solidify defensive line. That's where it all starts for me, is the trenches.
Has to be.
I mean, that's why my GM, the guy I like, is Ed Dodds out of Indianapolis. They build their foundation through the trenches, just like we need to do, and he's got a history. He was in Seattle before that. They was pretty damn good. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl most years. So that's why that's a guy I like. And I know they were talking to another guy from Indianapolis, Morocco
Brown is the other name that's been out there. But the only thing with these guys, and this is something that maybe we can kind of toss around here, but I want a guy that's done it before. So my top three guys are Rick Smith, the former GM of the Houston Texans, a guy who had to leave Houston. There was a little bit of a struggle there with him and the coaching staff there. Then his wife, unfortunately, she ended up losing her battle of cancer, so he kind of stepped away from the game. But he's eager to get back in. This is the guy that built a competitive Houston Texans team. This is the guy that actually traded up for Deshaun Watson, not trading up for Mitchell Trubisky. So he's a guy who's looking to get back in there again. Jeff Ireland, who is a former Bears ball boy, actually.
That's what I was looking for.
He was with the Dolphins, the GM with the Dolphins, and then he's with the Saints. He's been the catapult, actually the catalyst, I should say, and rebuilding that Saints draft there since 2017. You look at that 2017 draft from the Saints, in which he was at Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Trey Henderson. That was one hell of a draft class, and Jeff Ireland ran that whole draft scout. He's got Marcus Davenport coming out the year after that. So this is a guy that knows how to build through the draft. He's done it before. He's been a GM. That's my number 2 guy on my list. And a guy, I don't know if you guys will agree with this or not, but Rick Spielman got fired today from Minnesota. Was there for 16 years. This guy was also with the Bears before, was with the Dolphins before as well. I love his draft process. He always goes in there, and Aldo will kind of back me up on this. This is a guy that'll go into a draft with 7 picks, and he'll trade into 15 or 16 draft picks because he wants more shots at the plate. He wants to be able to go up there and, like, even if you have 15 picks, if 7 of them hit,
draft volume.
Yep, exactly. So, these are 3 guys that I've got targeted on my list. So far, I haven't heard any of these guys mentioned in terms of Bears requesting to talk to them. So we'll see if that happens. But that's what I'm looking for, guys that have done it before.
I talked about this on Kieran's show yesterday. I went on during halftime of the game, and somebody brought up Ed Dodds. Like, what in my couple years as the NFL liaison, the pro liaison at Mississippi State, Ed Dodds is the one guy that single-handedly, head, shoulders, knees, and toes above everybody else that walked through, is a guy I could say was easily the most thorough in his process, in terms of asking the questions, in terms of meeting with the people, watching the film, being around for days on end. Like that is a guy that is extremely, ridiculously, just obnoxiously thorough in all the best ways. And to me, if we can't get that guy, I want to know who he likes. I want to get the guy that he likes. And he went on. I saw that video. I think AC, you put it up today, didn't you? The one about him talking about Morocco Brown, or maybe it was somebody else. I'm not sure. But I saw the video of him talking about Morocco Brown, and I mean, if he loves Morocco Brown, I want Morocco Brown.
Greg Gabriel's been talking about Morocco Brown for about a month now. He loves Morocco. I guess he worked hand in hand with him when he was with. I don't know if it was with the Bears or the Giants, but he's. I listen to Greg every week on here with Aldo, just kicking it, and he's brought up Morocco Brown several times. So
I wish I had the opportunity to get to meet that guy, but I never have.
I texted some of the people around the league that I know that actually work with Morocco Brown, and I got, like I said, good guy, shrewd, connected, highly respected, and prepared, willing to doing the little things, knows what he brings, and demands to be taken seriously. So that's the Morocco Brown scouting report I got from a guy that works with him closely in the league. So he's a guy that demands respect and has been out there before. If I remember, he was with the Bears, I think back in early 2000s. He was with the Bears as well in terms of in the scouting department. So. Definitely a qualified candidate. Bring him in, talk to him, and see what his ideas and his plans are for this team.
This is the video Neil was just referring to. I think this is from Hard Knocks. I'm not sure what the source is, but Tony the Pod Boss posted it after listening to Greg Gabriel earlier today talk about Morocco Brown. This is a great little video about the communication skills that Morocco Brown has. Check this out.
Morocco, he's been doing it a long time. He's got ham hog legs, coconut calves. I thought the guy was driving a Rolls Royce. It is kind of an art delivery, painting that picture for us. He conducts himself like a lawyer. He's not a goody two-shoe type. He'll sit down and drink a beer with you. Everything's sunshine and rainbows with this guy. We tell our guys, don't read your report. Just tell us like you're walking down the hallway and we ask what kind of player he is. He gets his hands on you. He's moving all the furniture in the room. He's the bumblebee that shouldn't be able to fly. He's got a SpongeBob SquarePants guard body. This guy's the ultimate glue guy. He's like a contortionist. He's got Spider-Man hands. He's Captain America. He's seen a lot of players. He has this library of players in his head to compare them to.
It looked like Derek Thomas one play, and then it looked like Dr. Doolittle the next.
He's like Vince Carter in basketball. You just throw it up. You can bite into the stalls.
Will he fold like a lawn chair in the university?
He's just not sexy at all. We should throw a party.
See better hands on a snake.
Misses. Morocco, he's been doing it a long time.
That is awesome.
See better hands on a snake, he said.
Folks said he one more. He Dr. Doolittle. Wait a minute, what?
That's the scout talk. That's what we hear when he's sitting around in the stands in the Senior Bowl, guys. That's the kind of scout talk we hear up there.
Man. Good stuff.
That is just classic, man. Sign that guy up just to handle all the press conferences that the Bears do. Just give him $10 million a year so that he talks and not McCaskey.
It sounds like he would talk to us more than once a year, like Pace has done.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Neil has got to go. And so, Neil, any last thoughts before you head on out of here? And I know there's a couple of other people who are on a short leash tonight, so to speak. I know that AC's got to wake up super early, like 4 a.m. Tonight. But so, Neil, why don't you offer up any final thoughts you got, and then we can say goodbye to you.
Yeah, I think who is the one participant in the chat room that was talking about how Sean Payton told Ryan Pace to not get like married to the job or something. I forget what the exact quote was, but
yeah,
the thing about it is, guys, is that you gotta like your job, not necessarily be in love with your job. And the reason why I say that is that football's gonna chew you up and spit you out if you don't have a spine about you, and if you're not tough about standing up for who you are and standing up for your ideals and your goals and your family and the way you go about your business. That's not only a coming to the Bears thing. That's an industry thing. You can't be too in love with your job because tomorrow cannot be there, right? So that's the one thing I wanted to comment on, that he popped that up, and that just like made me think about my career history and how I've really come to understand how this game works. Throughout the past, really since 2005. I've been in this thing since 2005. So that's the one thing. The other thing too is like, guys, like I'm going to be as hopeful as the day is long, because I find the idea of being that feeling of being helpless incredibly exhausting, and I've felt that for really most of the past 4 years with this last coaching staff and the way things have been going. So. I know McCaskey didn't really give us a whole lot of reasons to go ahead and feel hopeful for the next, indefinite number of days, weeks, months, or years. But, send positive energy into the universe, guys, because the universe will reward you. I'm telling you. For everybody that's on the show, for everybody in the audience, send positive energy out there. We need positive energy in this franchise and this fan base right now. There's way too much negativity. And again, I know George didn't make it easy, but I'm trying to go out of my way to make it to make that what it is. I'm not really super amped up about the coaching names that have come up that have been requested interview right now. Leslie Frazier, we've seen that basket of mediocrity happen in Minnesota already. I'm not ready to go back into that. Brian Daboll, they're scoring a bunch of points in Minnesota, and Brian Daboll has figured out how to use a system tailored to quarterback that is big, strong, and athletic. So that might be a pretty good deal. But I'm still looking forward to other names that are going to drop. The GM names that have been thrown around, happy with. Still want to see others that are to come in terms of who's going to get requests for interviews. I'm just hoping that we're just going to go ahead and get it right this time, right? Like, mistakes by volume are a thing. Every once in a while, the whole like broken clock is right twice a day deal. And one of these days we're going to get it right, guys. One of these days we'll get it real, and that's what I'm hoping for this time around. So that press conference was what it was today. I woke up with great news. The press conference dampened it a little bit, but hey, we got some whiskey. We got some good football on TV right now. We got the family together. We're talking about stuff. We're venting. Everything's going to be fine. I'm excited. I'm going to project, a bunch of hopefulness, and we'll see what the universe rewards us with, guys.
There you go. Well said, brother. And thanks a lot for popping in. Please tell the lovely lady who I know is sitting next to you right now, tell her we all said hi. All right, brother?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
See you, Neil.
All right, Neil.
All right, boys.
See you, partner.
38 going on 25. Here we go.
Fucking Cub fans, I tell you, you wait 108 years for a fucking World Series, you'll wait forever for a Super Bowl. Jesus Christ,
Damn
I'm
right.
ready to win.
Hey, at least I saw the Bears play for
fucking
one.
win.
At least I saw the Bears play for one, damn it.
Getting there, I want to win the fucking thing. I was 5 years old. I
100%.
fucking want to win. I'm to the point where I think Greg Braggs tweeted it earlier. He goes, I'm to the point where I'm so tired of talking about it. It's just the same shit over and over. And I said to him, I totally get where you're coming from, because it's so frustrating. It's, you have 2018 and then we go to Bears 100, and all these people that were at Bears 100, they're like, oh my God, this team, oh my God, it's going to be so awesome this year. We're going to dominate the league. And the former players are like, yes, these guys got it. They've got it. They're going to do it. And they fucking come out and lay an egg. And then 20 happens. And now this year. And it's just fucking, and we witnessed it 3 years ago prior to that, 2 years prior to that. Then we had Lovey, which was pretty okay. But then prior to him, it was Duran. It was just fucking, it's been the same shit.
Compared to the last three, Lovey was absolutely amazing. He at least beat Green Bay.
Yeah, exactly.
He came in and said that was his goal.
That was his goal. He accomplished his goal.
Yeah.
He did it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and be honest, guys.
Yeah.
He went to a Super Bowl. Lovey went to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, could have won it if he fucking let Thomas Jones run the football, but I mean, what do I know?
Yeah,
I'm just a fan.
I've ranted enough about how the Bears don't appreciate their running backs. So
Rex is our quarterback.
I could go on for 5 hours on that shit.
Oh yeah. Oh dude. We should do a show based on that game. I bet you would have a fucking holy hell.
We'll be drunk by the end of it.
Never paid Thomas Jones.
And it's the same thing now. Nobody wants to pay David Montgomery, even though he's the best player on offense.
Shit, Nagy wouldn't give him the damn ball.
Yeah. Wash, rinse, repeat. I'm telling you.
The best offensive player you have, you won't give him the ball.
We'll see you guys in 4 years when we're celebrating the next coaching and GM fire.
Hey guys,
I ain't gonna be a fan
this
there.
time I really feel we're close though. In terms of what we have from a personal standpoint in the locker room, if the new GM comes in and retains a lot of the guys that are there, I'm telling you guys, a lot of those guys, all the boots on the ground guys, they're legit dudes. They have great eyes. They're very logical, very good evaluators. We just need better at the top, man. Fix what's going on at the top, and we'll be okay going downwards. I know that it's easier said than done. I know.
What?
Easier said than done.
Stephen V, you're the devil, and I love you.
Yeah.
All right, all right,
guys.
Later,
It was a lot of fun. Y'all be good.
Yeah. Hey, how are the rest of you guys on time? Just let me know in the chat room, and I'll get you out of here in time for you to get your milk and cookies and go to bed.
What's sleep? I don't know what you're talking about. What's sleep?
Ryan and I are going to party all night long. Look at that. What are you drinking?
All right, man. This is Woodford Reserve whiskey, baby. Woodford Reserve, man.
I got it all. I got it all.
Hey, see, my boy Aldo knows.
Where do they make that at?
Fancy ice mode. You feel me?
Where do they make that at, Aldo?
Kentucky.
That is the home.
That's what we're doing Bear Truth, and all those always throwing out these scenarios. Now I know he's got all these bottles of whiskey up there drinking up.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Up here.
It's the gentleman's
I've
drink.
never heard Brother Gaines this quiet, man. What's going on over here?
What is happening with
I'm about to go see my brother. I'm about to go see
He's got hair now.
Gaines.
He can't talk. Lost his strength.
It's like the opposite of Samson, you know, when you cut his hair, he lost his strength, and when Tyler grows his hair, he loses
strength.
I told Gaines I'm gonna be in DC in May. I'm going up there the Memorial Day week. We got to link up, brother.
Nice,
for sure, bro.
Nice.
For sure.
Hey, before we give Tyler center stage, let me give center stage to Ryan Badgley, who's got a few minutes here before he's got to take care of business at home.
Facts.
Yeah, the man who always delivers passionate facts. Ryan Badgley, what do you got to say about what had transpired today and what you think is going to happen in the future?
Yeah, you know, today, I mean, it's just you gotta try to move on from it. You know, I mean, we didn't think it could get any worse. It totally did, but you know, like Neil said, you have to have hope. Jesus Christ, I feel like, you know, I've been hoping, wishing, and waiting for 42 years of my life, and I'm 42 years old. I mean, yeah, I got to see the first one, but I don't really feel like it counts because I didn't really know what was happening. You know, I just want to see some competence, you know, moving forward. I want to see a smart hire here. I love what Danny said about getting a guy in here with experience, you know, somebody that's a proven winner, and, you know, somebody that follows in those same lines as a head coach. You know, to me, I think so much is made of whether they're a pro coach, college coach. I don't give a shit. If they can come in here and they can put a great team together that can win games and be competitive year over year. Yeah, I want a Super Bowl more than anything. But look at, and I'm sorry, I'll probably get ethered. Look at this. Look at the Green Bay Packers. I mean, not for nothing. Yes, they have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but they're competitive every year. Every year they're competitive. Yeah, there's a year here and there where they may not be for whatever reason, but I mean, look what Matt LaFleur's done in his first 3 or 4 years here. I mean, holy shit. No other coach in NFL history has done that. That's what is left to the decision makers now at Halas Hall, and you know, finding that right guy. I hope they do it. You know, it's just, you know, it's been hard, man. It's been rough. Like, the team just has had me so down. And then, like, you know, this morning, everything was like, yes, they're gone. You know, it's a fresh start. And then that fucking press conference happens. But, you know, every day is a new day. You wake up, it's a new day. It's a fresh start. You get another chance for another 24. So, you know, hopefully these guys figure this out and get it right. Eldo, I appreciate you inviting us on here. Danny, always good to be on with you, man. Gaines, much love, brother. KB, AC, I love all you guys. I appreciate it.
You're the man, brother. Really appreciate it.
Love you, boy.
And Badge,
take care, guys.
Badge, just real quickly, what you just said is so true.
Yeah.
You speak for millions of Chicago Bears fans. We're just tired of the losing. We're tired of the revolving door. It is defeating at times. I went off when Greg Gabriel, you know, I got passionate about how bad the press conference was, and Greg Gabriel told me to settle down, and I went off on him. Or just went off, not on him, but just went off saying, you know, we live and breathe this. You know, the 6 people on the screen, we represent millions of Chicago Bears fans. When we think about this in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, we prepare our shows on this network, really focused on it. But we're not making money out of this. We're doing this because of love and passion.
Yeah.
And then to be given back this horror story that has been the Chicago Bears franchise can be a kick to the nuts, man. Can be a kick to the nuts. So you said it very eloquently, brother. So I appreciate you and making some time for us tonight. Tell your family that we really appreciate them, and hang in there, my man.
Will do. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
All right, Badge.
Badge.
See you guys.
Danny, I know that you I've got about 5 or 10 minutes left, so I'll give the stage to you, my man.
I said about 10 or 15 minutes. If you want to go talk to Tyler real quick, Tyler's been quiet for a while.
Oh, Tyler's saving it up, man. He's saving it up.
Yeah, we got a debate on Wednesday.
That's right.
But no, it's always cool to see the guys. It's cool to see the guys together. I mean, to see KB and AC and it's special. It's special. It reminds me of a Sunday morning, and so. I've always said when I hear my guys saying amazing stuff, I don't got to say nothing because I'm like, yup. my guys are on point. But where I'm at with it before we get like super like. I want to just have a bird's eye view real quick because this is a franchise that I'm like crazy about and I'm emotionally invested in. What I wanted to hear today is what is the vision? George McCaskey, you in charge, bro. What's the vision, bro? Like, don't gas me up. Don't gas me up. Just tell me real. Where are you trying to take this business? The Chicago Bears is an organization. It's a business that plays a sport that we all love. But they're making business decisions. You're a businessman, George. Okay, bro. If this is on a pie chart, this is on a graph chart, where are you going to take us to the next level? How are you going to show sustainable growth? And so, like, that's what I wanted to hear today. Like, what is your plan? And he actually said kind of what I wanted to hear, at least a blueprint of it. He said a team that could win or coaches or somebody that has a proven record of winning is competitive in the playoffs and go far in the playoffs. Okay, cool. That's a little nugget, but that's exactly what we need, gentlemen. Somebody who has a successful program, i.e., when he said, I'm going to listen to the people, he says, GMs, come tell me your business plan because I'm allowing you to take control of this asset that I have over here. And so that's what I'm curious about is what is the vision? Each GM has to go into their office and plead their case. I'm going to take this organization to this site. We're going to implement this. This is my vision. This is my goal. This is how we're going to get it done. I'm curious to what they agree on. George, he's not a football guy, but guess what? He was actually writing something because when he said Matt Nagy, he said he felt offended that Matt Nagy said, who should I pick? George was actually right about that because guess what? George was like, that's what I'm paying you for. What do you mean you don't know? And so, like, as any Friday Night Lights, imagine a head coach not knowing who his guy was. And so he's like, what do you mean? We all bosses here. I'm handling business over here. You handle the field. Ryan, you handle the players. Y'all supposed to be bosses over your own territory. We come together and we grow. You see what I'm saying? And so you have to be able to trust that boss, just like on the show. I trust KB, I trust Badge, I trust Danny to bring it because they're bosses. We have to trust our GM, our coach. Coach, that's you. Coach, you come tell us that we're wrong. We want to coach with conviction. Why are we guessing? Why are we rolling dice? What does victory sound like? It's not about 1985. It's about, we're going to take this to another level and we're going to be competitive all the time from the damn time we step out the locker room to the time the whistle blows. And how do we do that? It's about the culture. I don't mean to rant. I was trying to chill.
That's what we needed. That's what we needed.
Yeah.
I was trying to chill, but it's just like, guys, I see things on Twitter all the time. It's about the fact that, like, what are we going to tolerate? As a business, what is the business people going to tolerate? George said he's going to get the guy in here. Cool. Let's figure out what the game plan is. George is going to have to agree to whatever they bring to the table, and then we can criticize and see what's up. It's going to take a couple years to implement. We got it. I mean, the players are dope, but like you guys said it right. Matt Nagy underachieved with the roster. Danny is right. Danny was saying a little bit of my heart because I like the roster. I felt like we had competitive guys. I felt like we had speed. I felt like we always play down the competition. We play down the competition, and it's like what's the name? Alex Brown said it. After a bye, this is what you came up with? It's been 2 weeks. Times I've said that. I'm like, bro, this was the plan? Like, what the hell did y'all talk about yesterday for 3 hours? Like, this is what we're gonna do? And so all these things, we move past it. That next GM coach, bro, it's like tree shaking eliminations. Like, what do you got? and how can we do it together? And that's why I'm excited to see what you guys think about it, because whoever the next head coach is, it's about attitude, grit, and commitment. And that GM got to bring it. And that's really what I want to hear. What's the vision?
Right. And it was funny because they asked him, what if a coach comes to you and says that he doesn't want Justin Fields?
That's stupid. But it's stupid because for the first time guys, this is the Chicago Bears, bro. Yo, we've never had a quarterback. Yo, we're telling the Chicago Bears, who've had many quarterbacks. We get to tell our next head coach that we had a top 10 talent in an NFL draft. What?
Hey, you listen to certain people on the network. Apparently, Justin Fields was a bust before we even picked him.
Because he went to Ohio
He's
State.
Ohio State. I'm a Michigan fan, and I was happy as hell to get Justin Fields.
Guys, but we gotta be real. We gotta be real. We gotta be grateful from where we're coming from. I mean, Mike Glennon. We sent out. We paid Mike Glennon. Let's just Mike. Nothing against Mike Glennon where he's at with his career.
Shit.
But
That's why I'm glad Pace was gone. Right. When I watched us beat the hell out of Mike Glennon last Sunday, I said, if you need any other reason to get rid of Pace, it's that he paid that man $18.5 million. Guaranteed.
I mean,
and then he paid Dalton $10 million.
It's a dice
when he had
game.
Foles on the roster.
The GM move is a dice game. The coach was not held accountable for his lack of scheme. Matt Nagy was good in every single thing except offense.
Which is what he was brought here to do.
He was brought here to be offensive.
The one thing he was brought here to do. Exactly. And that's why you hear people say, man, I don't want my head coach calling plays. Because we brought him here to do one damn thing. But guess what? We are in a position now where we do need a leader of men.
You know what, Tyler, what you're talking about, you're describing what you want for your head coach, dude, that sounds like Jim Harbaugh.
I was gonna say Harbaugh.
That sounds like Harbaugh because he'll bring that culture. He'll bring that physicality you're looking for. He knows the history of the Chicago Bears. The only question is, will the Bears go out and get him? My thing is, they're interviewing GMs and coaches simultaneously. How does that work? Typically, you pick one or the other. They're doing both. They're requesting to interview GMs and head coach. So is there a plan in place? Are they just going through due diligence here, but they are going to try and bring in the guy? Like I think right now, for me, I gave Aldo of 4 guys that I wanted, 4 former head coaches that I wanted, but I think the wild card was Jim Harbaugh. I just didn't know if the Raiders were going to just open up the bank and bring him to Las Vegas, or if he was going to stay in Michigan. It looks like with them making the playoffs, looks like the Raiders may be out of the picture here. They might keep their coach. And so it's either the Bears or Michigan. So we'll see what happens. But if you want that culture that's setting a tone, you know who's going to be the face of that who's going to lead that franchise out on the field every Sunday. It's going to be Jim Harbaugh, and that's who you're describing. And that if they bring him in, pair up with his GM choice, I think that's a home run hire right there.
That means you gotta do something that the Bears might not want to do. Back up the Brinks truck.
They said money's not going to be an issue. He said today money's not an issue.
If money is truly not the issue,
except for Olin.
Except for Olin. One of my favorite movie quotes is from Django. My man Dr. King Show says, "I'm gonna make an offer so ridiculous that even if you don't want to take the deal, you will be forced to listen." I would offer Jim Harbaugh a ridiculous amount of money, $10 million for per year, up to 7 years. We want you in Chicago to fix our team. Bring in who you need. We will give you the full autonomy with your GM to fix this fucking team.
Interesting.
We have been mediocre for years. I trust in your direction. Pay that man. Do what you have to do to lure him from Michigan. That's what needs to be done.
Yeah, he did a deal like that in Michigan.
You sold on him like that, KB? You sold on him like that?
Hold on. I'm sold on Harbaugh's philosophy like that.
Okay.
I'm a Michigan fan. I know what it was like to watch Brady Hoke take Michigan year after year and have 6 fucking wins, and we be the laughing stock of the Big Ten when we were a perennial powerhouse. You know what I'm saying?
Still getting those top recruits, but not winning with them.
And not winning. Yeah, he wasn't beating Ohio State. Ohio State, like I said, they're a powerhouse. You're going to get those recruits to come there. Michigan State, to me, that's the biggest thing on Jim Harbaugh's record to me. You couldn't consistently beat Michigan State, but
yeah, I wouldn't even think of Michigan. I respect him from what he did for San Francisco.
I was gonna say, but that brings me to this point. I don't care about college. College is the Wild West.
Yeah.
I see what you did with the 49ers, what you did with Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Bring in somebody. Like I said, I'm a fan of Pep Hamilton, that offensive coordinator.
Yeah, love that. That'd be my dream scenario is Harbaugh head coach, Pep Hamilton offensive coordinator, or Vic Fangio back at defensive coordinator, or keep Sean Desai defensive coordinator.
Exactly. Listen, I've sat and watched Pep Hamilton's offensive scheme, how he gives outlets to say, okay, if you don't hit your first read, you have the dump off here or here. It's going to be in the middle of the field for you to see.
Right.
I mean, he's got Davis Mills. He's got Davis Mills throwing to Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola
and Nico Collins
looking like the second best quarterback from the draft last year. So I don't hate Pep at all.
Herbert 2 years ago, and then this year is Mills, right? Davis Mills, and you saw the quarterback just get better and better. You saw a quarterback get coached up.
Exactly.
That's what I want. A guy who can coach up a quarterback and can coach a system, and that's the thing. Is Pep Hamilton will be the OC. My dream scenario: Pep Hamilton, the OC, Vic Fangio back in DC.
What do you guys think about this gentleman? The ball.
He's a
guy that. Go ahead, AC.
I'm gonna be honest, and I can't break the tape down like Danny, as I've said, but I can try and do research. And I did research on Dabo, tried to look through what fans of the Bills have been saying about this guy, because he's been coming up since the beginning of the season. You know, people have wanted Nagy out since last year. So I've been looking at new head coaches since then. And Dabo was one of the names that continuously popped up. And what I see a lot of their fans continue to say is, A, he abandons the run, and B, his red zone offense is not very good. Josh Allen is an amazing athlete, and I feel like Dabo's system works because Josh Allen just does his thing. How many I can't tell you how many times I've watched the Bills on offense, and Josh Allen, either he's got Stephon Diggs open, who's another incredible athlete, or he takes off for 15, 20 yards and runs somebody over like Ben Roethlisberger back in the day. So Dabo's system, it might work. I'm just going off their fans' reaction, what I'm reading on Twitter. Sure. Is it don't work in the red zone and he abandons the run. We already hate Nagy for abandoning the run. I don't want to bring somebody else in here that's going to leave David Montgomery on the sideline on a 4th and 1.
Can I interject on that? Because this is what I kind of feel. I feel like Dabo, he abandons the run because he didn't have the running back that they need. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in Chicago, you look at, you know what I'm saying, you look at your players and you see that you got a David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, and you say, you know what, I can actually run the ball with these two. We all thought that kid from what was the school he went to? I can't even remember his name right now. He came from the same schools. We had the one kid that was super fast.
Devin Singletary.
Yes, Singletary. We all thought he was going to be amazing. You know what I'm saying? That first year, he looked like he was going to be on the rise, and it just kind of never got there. You know what I'm saying? And you look at Zach Moss. I love Zach Moss out of Utah. Hell, I was a Tyler Huntley fan, so I was watching Utah. But Zach Moss hasn't materialized into anything, and I don't know if that's because Dabo chooses not to run the ball, or you know what I'm saying, or he just isn't as talented as I thought he was going to be. But we know we have the running back talent here, and if you bring in a Dabo, you would have to assume that he knows he has, you know what I'm saying, at least a top 5 talent at running back here, and that he can actually run the ball. But I don't know. That's just my thinking. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I know, Danny, you need to get on out of here, so offer up a couple of final thoughts for us, and again, I appreciate you making time for us tonight.
Oh yeah, this is fun. I love talking to you guys about ball here for sure. But yeah, real quick on Dabo, he was a guy that I initially was touting midseason, just because of the way I love the way he built that offense around Josh Allen. But I hadn't really dug into any Buffalo tape. But then as the season got going here and towards the tail end, I started digging into some more Buffalo tape. I have some people out in Buffalo. And the thing with them is right. He abandons the run, but he uses that 3 or 4 yard pass as his running attack as well. So you'll see, his quarterback throw the ball, 30, 40, 50 times sometimes, but that he incorporates his short passing game as part of his rushing attack, which I don't like. I like a physical, a guy that utilizes the running game to be able to produce play action and get big plays down the field. The other thing with him is he uses Josh Allen like another running back, and he runs him not just like the sweeps outside and gets him outside the pocket. He runs him in between the tackles. Now, Josh Allen is a 6'4", 200, 30, 40 pound big guy. But dude, I don't care how big you are, you're gonna get that guy hurt eventually. So I'm not liking that. So I've really kind of wean off of guys like Dable. Again, I want an experienced GM and I want an experienced head coach. I want someone to come in here to be able to kind of get the ball rolling immediately. All these first tier guys that these offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they've never been coaches. The big thing we have with them is, they may be able to scheme a defense or scheme an offense, but can they control a room? Can they coach up 53 men? That's a big thing. So that's why I want guys that have done it before, that have have some success here in the league. So for me, my preference is an experienced GM and an experienced head coach, and then just someone that's going to come in here with a vision in terms of how they're going to build the offense around Justin Fields, and then go from there. So that's my hope there as well. So we'll see how it goes, but this has been fun. Neil kind of started talking about hope and all that stuff, but for me, is like I want to see that first hire, whether it's the head coach or the GM. That'll tell you a lot in terms of which direction this organization is going to go. If you bring in an experienced GM and then allow him to go ahead and do the coaching search and bring in that coach, I think you'll see that kind of that hierarchy there kind of develop here with the Bears organization. But if they bring in a coach, a big name like, say, a Jim Harbaugh, maybe a Doug Peterson, and allow him to go ahead and pick his GM, that's kind of doing it backwards, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. But definitely, it's something that we know it's going to be exciting. We're going to get into the draft as well. Going to get into some offseason stuff here as well. Free agency is coming up sooner than we think, and just excited to see what the Bears are going to do here going here in the future.
And Danny, before you go, I want to make sure you see this. There apparently is a connection between Brian Daboll and Bill Polian. Ken Fishbane says the ball went to high school with Bill Polian's sons, and Bill Polian helped connect Daboll with Nick Saban for the GA job, at Michigan State in 1998. And I'm learning from other sources that the connection runs even deeper than that. So if you believe that it's all about who you know, then you might be seeing right here your next head coach for the Chicago Bears.
Brian Daboll, head coach of next year. Go ahead and confirm it.
That's not giving me a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings here, but
it's not.
Neil left us with a positive hope, and I just ruined it.
You just dashed it. You just killed it.
Danny, I want to ask you before you leave, because a guy that I like a lot, I've heard Greg talk about him a lot, Todd Bowles. What are your thoughts on him? Because he's been in a head coach position before. His defense has been, the top every year. He's my favorite. And
I brought him up on this past week's Bear Truth, and I gave all the 4 guys that I wanted, and Todd Bowles was one of my 4 guys. And with him, though, this is a guy that no doubt he's going to respect the room. He's going to command the room. I have no doubt that his defense is going to be top notch. It's going to be top 10, top 5. So I think that side of the ball we're taken care of. My thing with him is what is your plan in terms of offensive coordinator, and not just that, what's your plan as quarterback coach? Because if Todd Bowles is successful and he starts winning, guess what? Next year, the year after that, they're going to come and they're going to try and take his offensive coordinator away from him. I don't want Justin Fields to have to learn a whole new system. So I want Todd Bowles to come in with a plan. All right, this is my OC. This is my quarterback coach. If my OC goes away, my quarterback coach can just be promoted up, and he's going to keep the same system, maintain the continuity. That way in offense, you don't have Justin Fields and the receivers and backs and everybody learning a whole new system 2 or 3 years later on. So that's a big thing for me with Todd Bowles. But in terms of him coming in and being a head coach, he's a guy on my list, guys. He's a guy that's going to command the room. He's going to command respect. A former player. This guy's been doing it for years here in the NFL. But my thing with him is, who is your OC? Who is your quarterback coach? And what's your plan on offense for Justin Fields?
There you go. You heard it from Danny Shimon. co-host of Bear Truth and Draft on Tap. Danny, thanks a lot for jumping on with us, and we'll be talking to you. Actually, we'll see you on Wednesday on the Buffon 55 show. He's got a segment with you and Neil, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Talking draft already. It's draft season, guys.
Hell yeah, draft season. I've already ran like 2 or 3 mocks.
I love it. I got to get into that. All right, Danny.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, Danny.
Okay, guys.
What do you guys think about this Brian Daboll, that there might be a connection with Bill Polian? Does that concern you at all? That you know how things can be, the old
good old boys network.
Oh, that's the word that I want to get out. Does it concern you, and or you don't have any concern that they're really going to do a forthright interview and they're going to look for the best candidate? Are you hopeful that that's what's going to happen? Anybody jump in?
I think hopefully they've learned from past mistakes. You've got to learn eventually. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you stick your hand on a hot stove as a kid, you pull your hand back, you ain't gonna stick your hand right back on that stove. You would think. I mean, unless you're, I don't know, stupid or something. But I feel like the names that I've heard coming down, I'm not a fan of Frazier either, but I mean, it is what it is. I feel like they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to talk to, and George McCaskey even said it. It's not going to be necessarily an offensive mind, necessarily a defensive mind, and necessarily a special teams guy. We're going to talk to all of them. I really think they're going to do their due diligence, and I really think Bill Polian's telling them, hey, if you ain't doing all your homework, you're going to fail, bottom line. And even though, like I said earlier, he can dip out and it doesn't affect him at all. Some people, us Bears fans, are going to remember who said to do this. We still remember Accorsi, and John Fox had a history of being successful, and then he came here and it wasn't so good, and everyone remembers who told them to hire that man. So, I mean, we just got to hope they get it right.
I was going to say, with me, it's, you kind of look at the Nagy situation. I don't necessarily want to hear in 2 days we found a coach. I don't want to necessarily hear in 2 days that we found a GM. The Colts were supposed to get McDaniels, and then he flaked on them. And then it took a few more days at that, and they finally got Frank Wright. And it worked out well for them. Yeah, they missed the playoffs this year, but I mean, they built the hell of a fucking team, and he's a great coach.
Yeah.
The old saying is, you walk down and you get them all. You know what I'm saying? Walk down, get them all. Take your time with this. I don't care if the top prospect that people are saying is supposed to be the next fucking surefire coach gets hired in Miami. I don't care. As long as you do your due diligence and you look over everybody and pick through everybody with a fine-tooth comb and say, this is the guy that I really want, and you've picked up, you've had to look over the litter. That's what I'm looking for. Take your time with this one. Don't hire somebody just off of, we got to go get this guy because this team is looking at him. No, look over everybody. Look over everybody, because that Russian stuff did not work. It set us back 4 years. That set us back. Take your time with this hire. Pick over everybody. Look over all the candidates that are available.
Well, part of that, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Part of that I feel like was pace. We saw it in the draft. Yeah. He loved Mitch Trubisky. He didn't do his homework on Watson. Mahomes, I know you loved him, Aldo, but I thought he was going to go one way or the other. He was either going to be damn Brett Favre or name said quarterback who was throwing interceptions. Yeah. But he fell in love with the candidate, and he's going to go get his guy. So I feel like if they do their homework, they do their due diligence, then I feel like they'll get the right hire.
Exactly.
One of and we've talked a lot about some of the disturbing things in today's press conference. One that I found was George McCaskey's response to why Ted Phillips was going to be involved in the interview process, given that Phillips has been involved in a lot of the interview processes over the last couple of decades. And so this is this is what McCaskey said about Ted.
Because I trust Ted implicitly, because I have great respect for his judgment, his analytical skills, his instincts when it comes to the people that we're interviewing. And in the end, he'll be negotiating the contract with the general manager and the head coach.
Ouch.
I was pissed when he said that.
Yeah.
What track record has he given you to trust him? I think they're just great friends. It'd be like if I owned a team and KB was an accountant in the past, and I'm like, KB, come over here, man, run my team for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And 20 years down the road, have we gotten the quarterback right? No. Have we won enough games? No. But everything else is there. But you know what, KB? You my boy. So
you my boy, goddammit.
So stick around and we're gonna hang out and drink beer on the weekends.
It sounds like a movie. It sounds like a real movie.
It does.
I would pay to see that movie. I would pay to see it.
AC and KB,
Hey, that was the Cleveland Chicago game.
Yeah. I know. AC, you gonna be like KB? I know. I wasn't care about winning and all, but I kind of need to win one. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get it done. And then
can you sit back on this one, not put no input in this one? Just let me do this. Yeah, that's.
I love what James says here. He says George McCaskey said he will make the final decision this time, which means that Ted Phillips has been the one hiring the last GMs. That's very good deduction there, James. I want to play one other soundbite before we all get out of here. So McCaskey was asked, why Bill Polian? Why can't you do this? And this was his response.
Well, I think it would be a fair criticism if somebody said, I'm going to make this decision all by myself and I'm not going to get any input from anybody else. People would be wondering where this guy is coming from. We have a great resource available to us, and we're going to take full advantage of that resource. I expect that there will be vigorous discussion and debate after we interview each candidate. I was struck in our earliest conversations with Bill, how very much on top of the game he is, and even on our situation. When we called him out of the blue, and he was asking us detailed questions about our roster, our injury situation with particular players, he was very much up on the game in general and the Bears situation in particular. So I think we'll be in good hands, leaning on Bill to help us make this decision.
Tyler, are you satisfied with that response?
I mean, it's very he didn't do himself any favors. He's trying to say the right thing by saying, I don't want it to be all on me, which is kind of a scapegoat backdoor, saying, hey, it's not all on me. So it's kind of damn if you do, damn if you don't. He's leaving the door open for either way. Bill Polian, I mean, he is a good dude. I mean, he's a good dude. I mean, he did it all wasn't perfect. And that was the older NFL at the time. But he's trying to say the right thing, saying it's a group effort. But it was just like the source, you're right. But it would have felt better for me if he would have said, we're going to take advice, but we're going to make our own decision. Don't make it seem like you're taking somebody else's thing and you're going to run with it. Like you are the chairman of the Chicago Bears. Like own the position. The same way you want Matt Nagy, the head coach, to own the coaching staff and to own that is the same way you should own that position. And so it was still interesting how he puts it though. It's like, man,
that was to me one of the parts of the press conference that I actually kind of liked, because I looked at it this way, and I talked about it earlier. I don't know how to study the tape. I don't exactly know what I'm looking at. So I'm going to go to the Draft Network. I'm going to turn to Neil. I'm going to turn to Danny. I'm going to turn to YouTube clips, whatever I can do in the process of trying to learn about just for instance, draft prospects. I'm going to try and learn as much as I can about each one. And if I'm just making the decision, like as a fan, like, hell yeah, just pick everybody from Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? But he's going through and taking input from someone who's been there and done that. Yes, he's had mistakes, but every scout has mistakes. I mean, so if anybody has a perfect track record as a scout, point him out to me because I ain't seen it. Even Belichick has some misses on his record. I mean, so I like the answer.
And does anyone have a problem with the fact that Polian said that Lamar Jackson was a wide receiver and didn't understand the potential that Jackson held as a innovative, progressive quarterback that could do much more than the average quarterback in the NFL?
I'm going to tell you this as a Kentucky fan. Sorry, KB, I can tell you're itching over there to talk. We were up on Louisville a ton to like nothing. All of a sudden, this freshman gets sent in. His name's Lamar Jackson. And let me tell you, he ran all over us. He kicked our butts the rest of the game, and they ended up beating us. We beat Lamar Jackson one time. That was in his Heisman year. He fumbled the ball with the game on the line.
I remember that.
But the fact of the matter is, I don't know what he was seeing that said that he couldn't be a quarterback. Everyone said he couldn't throw, but if you actually watched him play, his deep ball was absolutely beautiful at Louisville. And that was their game plan. They'd throw the ball to Lamar and say, go do something. Go figure it out. It was Lamar and a bunch of dudes at Louisville, and he won a Heisman Trophy.
That kind of lends to what I'm saying, and I'm sorry to cut you off. That kind of lends to what we hear about Justin Fields being a bust and people being inaccurate. You see, and I before we go here, I'm sorry, I got to take it there. You see black athletes at a position of power because the quarterback position is a position of power. Don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. You are the leader of a team, offense or defense. You get looked at. You have a young athletic quarterback who can do things that you can't fucking fathom on a football field. Make moves, cuts, stop, accelerate. Things, like I said, it seems superhuman. And then you say, okay, well, yeah, I've seen him overthrow this receiver. I've seen him miss this guy. But then you look at the tape and you see him hitting these people. You see him making the passes, especially in these clutch moments. Justin Fields, I've heard, is inaccurate. But we've seen this man connect on more passes than we've ever seen Mitch Trubisky hit. And I wanted Mitch Trubisky to succeed. I came on the record and said I felt like out of him, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes, I felt like he would have the longest career. I said that shit. It's on Twitter. Justin Fields is probably the most electric, most physically gifted, greatest passer that I've ever seen come through a Bears uniform. And if you do the right thing and you put the right pieces around him, he will succeed, just like Lamar Jackson did. His MVP year was not a fucking aberration. That was real. The boy can throw the ball, but you have to scheme around him. You have to tailor to him. You can't just have the blinders on and say, oh, well, he's fast and he's black. He can play, he can play wide receiver, but he won't succeed at quarterback. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing now with Justin Fields. He's black, he's fast, he's athletic. Oh, he's not a quarterback. When exact, he stays in the pocket. He plays from the pocket. If he can't stay in the pocket, he gets out. He didn't look to run first. He looked downfield to pass. That's why he was taking sacks. He wants to make the play. He wants to be the person that saves the fucking day. And we haven't had that in Chicago.
Right.
We have people who get the high beams in their eyes. They're like deers in headlights.
Right.
Justin Fields wants to be great. Mm-hmm. You heard Darnell Mooney say, tomorrow, me and Fields are getting to work.
Yeah. What did he say the day that Fields was named the starter for the Cleveland game? He said, my parents wanted to go out and celebrate. I stayed home and watched film.
I wanted to watch film. Even though he took 9 sacks that game. The boy he wants to be great.
Yeah.
And that's something you haven't seen. You hear, oh, I want to read books or You get retreads at quarterback that want to come in, and it's people living off Super Bowl success. This kid wants to win. He said that there is going to be a change in the NFC North. The Green Bay Packers will not run this division while he's at quarterback. I feel all that, and I'm behind all that. I can give a damn less what anybody says about him. I see the potential. When he drops back, you see a quarterback. You don't sit there and tell yourself every time he throws the ball, is it going to be picked? Mm-hmm. He wants to make the plays. He wants to be great. And that's all I need to see, because I've seen that exact same drive at running back with David Montgomery. He wanted to be great. He put in the work to be great, and he is great. That's all I'm saying. I say, Bill Polian, I need you to get the blinders off, because Lamar Jackson wasn't a quarterback. Wasn't a wide receiver in this league. He wasn't a running back. That man is a quarterback. So was Justin Fields.
He has admitted that he was wrong.
And that's amazing, because a lot of folks wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but even bigger than that, he was the one who was talking about the Browns should draft Manziel number 4 overall.
Ooh.
So, like Lamar Jackson, a lot of people were saying that. And Lamar Jackson honestly didn't do himself any favors when he didn't hire an agent. He had his mom as his agent.
Oh, that's
y'all remember that draft?
Yep.
He had his mom as his agent. So a lot of people was like, why is this dude not smart? Like, what is he doing? But the Johnny Manziel thing to me is a bigger. I don't want to make it about race. You know I love you, KB.
Oh yeah,
but to me, that's a bigger indictment than saying Lamar Jackson, who's a tall, athletic African American gentleman, he didn't think he could throw. And I feel like absolutely that's an indictment on him, because like I said, they would just give Lamar the ball and say, make something happen. A lot of his throws, they didn't have an O-line. He would run out of the pocket, move out of the pocket, then make the throws. And some of those guys were open because of he was moving. Just like we see Justin Fields do. When he does the pump fakes and stuff. Justin needs to learn how to slide better, though. He slides with that head up. He's gonna get his head knocked off.
So we saw it in one of the games.
Yeah,
man, kind of trying to come in and take his head off.
He does it a lot.
Yep, guys. I think we have delivered an hour and 40 minutes of outstanding football talk. You guys are all beyond great gentlemen for popping in here and spending so much time. I know you guys got busy schedules. I know Mr. AC, for instance, has to wake up at 4 a.m.?
I got about 5 hours from now. I got to get up.
Oh, yeah.
But I love talking football with you guys, man. I couldn't miss this right now.
Right, couldn't miss
I wanted to get. I was at work. Listen, I fly dives for a living. I fly an overhead crane. We wear ear protection. I threw an earbud in earlier today. Turned on ESPN 1000 on my phone. Nice. Listened. I heard when they got fired. I heard when the news broke. I was pumped up. I was excited. I flipped over to YouTube to watch what George had to say earlier, and brought me back down a little bit. Then I started seeing names leaking, brought me back up. I was ready to hop on, like when I got off work. I kept telling Mallory, I was like, I'm ready. This is gonna be a late ass podcast. I'm ready to go now.
I took a 20-minute nap in between shows too. I just had to. I was like, oh man.
See, if I take a nap, man, I ain't sleeping tonight. So I gotta stay up until I go to bed, or I won't sleep.
I hear you. Well, let's go around the table and get some final comments. Tyler, you want to start us off?
Sure. Brand new day. It's very exciting. Like, I mean, Aldo, I've been waiting for this. Like, I was just like, boom, done.
Yeah.
Because I was legit scared that the Bears wouldn't do it. I was scared that they would freaking not.
All the Pace rumors scared the heck out of me.
I was just scared that they wouldn't fire anybody. Oh. That's what I was worried. That's honestly what I was worried about the most. And so kudos for the management for making a decision. Mm-hmm. Thank you for showing us that you actually give something, that you give a crap. That's awesome. And I'm really excited to see. A lot of people are banging the table for Greg Roman. I live here. I'm in the Baltimore, D.C. area. A lot of the Baltimore fans, they can't wait for him to be fired. The Baltimore fans don't like him, and so that's something to keep in mind. Just perspective, and so he's not liked a lot here in Baltimore. He professional like from an offensive scheme standpoint, because that's just the real talk. So keep that in mind. My man from the Bills, remember, I know it was preseason, but Mitch Trubisky came in here in the preseason and tore our asses up, and that was off of one offseason with this dude. And so if dude was able to show Mitch like that, I'm just saying it may be something there. It's different between doing that and being the head coach. That's where we get tricky at. When you're the head coach, that's where it gets tricky and stuff. And so be careful what you ask for. I am excited. KB, I agree with you. Let's do plenty of interviews. Let's get some experience. Let's see what's out there. Let's see what kind of ideas are out there and everything. And then the GM, let all this talk about Lamar. Let's throw some money at Ozzie Newsome. How much it costs to come out of retirement? That'd be a good ploy.
He should have been the president of football operations that we don't have.
Lamar, I think he was the last pick in the first round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he was 36.
Traded up.
And that was Ozzie Newsome. That was Ozzie Newsome on his way out the door with a gift. So damn, he hit on his way out the door.
He's like, I'm out, but right before I head out, here's a little something.
and credit to John Humber, who had got control of the team and everything, special teams coach. And the Ravens went through some different offensive coordinators to get the right person for Lamar. And so we gotta have patience. Justin is that dude. The dude is the fighter. The dude is a winner. I am 100% down with Justin Fields. Like, everybody's chill out and relax, because Troy Aikman didn't look good his first year either. And so, like, not comparing the two, but just saying this dude Justin Fields is special. The dude
Manning led the league in interceptions his rookie year.
Justin has hella energy, hella swag, and it's tailor made. A Chicago fan should be grateful and appreciative that we got a young man. He's humble, he's grateful, he's down for his teammates, and he wants to, and he's a student of the game. And we got to just allow him to grow and develop under a successful scheme and leadership. And let's see what happens after that. You can't deem somebody a bust because Drew Brees was cut from the Chargers. He was cut from the Chargers, and then they found him. They picked him up off the field, off the streets, and with the Saints. And so let's see how these things play out. I am very excited about it. But like Danny said, I'll have more information when that first hire is made. Then we can start making. Then we'll have some more tangible information. But in the time being, I'm very excited that it's something new coming. It was so dope to chop it up with you all. And either way, Barroom Network is shooting to the top. #1 plus. And stay tuned for all the Bulls coverage. And but we can talk. Now we're gonna be talking Bears all off season. So it's gonna be pretty freaking exciting. Justin Fields is our starting quarterback, Week 1, 2022. And it's a pleasure, gentlemen. Love you all. Bear down,
bro.
Bear down, brother.
Ryan, what you got for us, brother?
Man, a certain hated person said something, man, once, and it was RELAX, man. Relax. Let's go ahead and dig in. Let's watch how this offseason start to play out. It's like our guy said, man, Neil, you got to put that positive energy out. I'm not going to be out here to bash the Bears. I want to see us be great, man. I want to see this team do good. It makes the league better when the Bears are good. So I'm gonna get that positive energy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful to be on with y'all, man. It's good to see Aldo's face. It's good to see my boy Gaines' face, man. And AC knows it's always wonderful when I see that beard, bro.
It's the AC show, brother.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? It's AC and we just the background dancers, baby. But man, we just gotta have patience with this one. We can't rush into anything. We have to find the right people to do right by the players on this roster, and most definitely right now by Justin Fields, because he's who we're gonna tether our hopes and our prayers to. He's who we're gonna get behind to be the leader of this team. So, man, let's dig in, man, and let's pray they get this right. You know what I'm saying? Send that positive energy up. That's the best we can do. But like I said, man, I love all y'all, man. I'm happy as hell to be on with y'all, man. Like I said, it's happy to see these two faces I don't get to see all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm thank you for putting me on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always here to talk, baby.
There you go, brother.
Bear down.
All right, AC.
Well, I've been ready for this for a little while now. Like I said, I've looked at a lot of the coaching candidates already, from Greg Roman to Dabo to even digging deep. I love the Kyle Shanahan system, so I've even been digging into his coaching. The coaches under him, see if we can snag somebody. And McVay runs that same system. It seems like everybody's running it now. I mean, if you stop in and have a cup of coffee with Sean McVay in LA, you end up with a head coaching gig. And I mean, it's worked out for Green Bay. It's working out for Cincy. It's, so I mean, like everybody said, man, I'm pretty optimistic most of the time. So I just want to see the Bears do great, do their due diligence, make sure they're doing their homework. Like KB said, I don't want to see no decision in 2 days. This is our guy. This is our GM. This is our head coach. I want to see them bring in multiple different head coaches and GMs from different backgrounds that have done different things and run different systems and find out what works best for us. We've got our quarterback. We finally drafted the quarterback that I wanted. Not to toot my own horn, but I wanted Watson in 2017, and they went with Trubisky instead, and I never thought it would work out. I mean, Mike North still loves the guy, but I just I don't think
even though he didn't invite him to his wedding, Mike still loves him.
No, I know. I'm pretty sure they're related somewhere. I mean, I still love him
about that, but anyway, please go ahead.
I still love Mitch too. I follow him his soon to be baby mama on Instagram and stuff, and they seem to be doing really well, and they have a great, beautiful relationship. Whatever, they go to the Florida Keys and shit, but I think the Bears are gonna get it right this time. I've got a hope, right? I mean, I can't just come on here and I mean, like I've told y'all, I was a Bengals fan before I was a Bears fan, and they fans said the same thing about that organization. They don't care about winning. They don't want to win. They just want to count their money. They're never going to do anything. Then they finally got rid of Marvin Lewis, and they hired Zach Taylor, and now they look like, it's a top. I don't know what the numbers say, but it's got to be a top 5 offense in the league. They put that team together. They built it through the draft. Speaking of Ohio State quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, even though he finished at LSU, he started at Ohio State, and I think he's all right. So, I mean, if you want to have that argument, there you go. He's going into the playoffs, and he's pretty damn good. I mean, I'm glad y'all let me come on and take over the show. It's the AC show anytime I'm on. So I appreciate it. I love you guys. Like I said, Brother Gaines, I'll be seeing you in May. We got to throw something on the grill or something. We'll figure something out. And bear down, fellas.
There you go. And I'll just leave you with this thought, guys. We all have to be happy that we got, the wicked witches are dead, right?
Right.
The idea of having to mention those names again, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, just literally drove me ill. Those guys had their opportunity. They had their opportunity. I don't feel proud about some of the things that I said about those guys over their period of time, but that comes with the jobs. That's why they're paid millions of dollars, because they're in the entertainment field and they're entertaining alpha males like us. They're entertaining diehard fans like us. And so it is what it is. That is past. I wish them nothing but the best. I hope the two get hired as GM and coach somewhere and have success, as long as they don't beat the Bears. I really do, because they are good people, just like Tyler has said in the past, and Ryan and AC have said it too. They're good people, but they just proved to be incompetent at building a football team. Now, today's performance with that press conference, there were many, many parts of it that I was disappointed with. And so I can't say that I'm 100% optimistic, but I do have 100% hope. Nobody's going to take that away from me. Nobody will ever take that away from me, from my love for the Chicago Bears. And what makes it so easy for me to have that hope is AC. It's Ryan. It's Tyler. It's John Buffone. It's everybody else at the Barroom Network and everybody else in the chat room and the thousands of other people who will watch these videos and say, wow, I can relate to what these guys are saying. I can deal with their frustration. I can deal with their love of this team. I can deal with it all. We are a family of Bears fans, and we get together here every night, almost every night, to talk about Bears, to talk about our hopes, to talk about our fears and concerns, to talk about how much we wish Justin Fields gets to all the proper tools he needs to realize his greatness. We get together here and we do it all as great friends and family. And so that gives me great hope. And with that, I will close this episode of the Halas Hall Purge and tell you all that our coverage will continue. We'll be back tomorrow with the Dan and Aldo Bear Their Souls, and then that special Buffon 55 show. In addition to that, we'll have tons of other coverage. And you better believe that if anything special happens with the hire or anything, we're going to be back here and we're going to invite the entire family again, and we're going to have a great time talking about it. All right, everybody. Good night. Take care.
Right down.
Right down.